Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, December 6th. The boys aren't coming in, but I'm still going to go out and try see if I can see that massive rack whitetail, right? And freeze my ass off. So, what are we talking about today? I'm talking about why you really matter, even when you don't think you do. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And today we're going to be talking about why you matter. And I know, it gets to the best of us where we feel like life is rushing us by and we're not making a dent in trying to get stuff done, or we feel like we're invisible and nobody cares about us. And that's where you're wrong. You know, let me take a step back. Today is the 6th of December of 2025, and we're talking about why you truly matter. God did the first thing, and that was He created life. He gave you that precious gift of life, right? So you're breathing, you're seeing, you're hearing, for most of us. Some of us have hearing aids. But the next thing that He gave us that was very precious was choice. And we have a choice in how our life plays out. A lot of people don't feel like that. They feel like they don't matter and that no matter what they do isn't good enough. And you're so wrong. I felt that way before. I felt like, nobody cared. Even if I wasn't here, nobody would notice. But the real fact is, yes, they would. And if you're struggling right now, understand that it's not going unnoticed. But that it was a choice that you or I made that put us in this struggle. So we need to look at the struggle and say, how can we lessen the effects of the struggle? Or how can we change it so that we're not struggling? If you're struggling, understand that that's a positive. If somebody is struggling, and if I'm struggling, that means I'm in new ground, okay? It means I'm venturing someplace that's making me uncomfortable. And then that means you're actually growing, whether you believe it or not, of what works and what doesn't work. Anything in life that you want, you can have pretty much. It just depends upon you and how bad you want it. See, that's the thing. You want to be careful about what you wish for because you may end up with something that you really don't want, right? Why do I say that you matter? I can give you a list. We talked about on this channel about how you get a reset in the morning. You have at least 10 things that you're grateful for because that'll ground you. And that will, it sets the tone for the day, right? So if I'm struggling with customers, okay, of not having enough customers and trying to meet payroll and trying to pay the bills and this and that, and you're just ready to throw your hands in the air, that's the time to take a step back. And you're going to say, no, you got to double down and go after new customers. That'll come. But you need to first cut yourself some slack and say, you know what, I'm only human. There's only certain things that I can carry. There's only certain things that I was meant to carry. And sometimes the more you push and the more you double down, the worse it gets. That's why I say that's where you take a step back. And you have the ability to look at where you're at. Call it a third person, where you sit back and you look, and you're looking at you and what's going on, and you're focusing on, well, what am I doing right and what am I doing wrong? It'd be just like giving yourself advice. If you don't know, what do? You ask or you learn it. See, most of us that have survived to our age have wisdom, and we have wisdom because we've had so many experiences, or hopefully, that have caused us to see that this works and this doesn't work. And stuff that when in my 20s I thought was the end of the world makes me laugh now. Why is that? Because the more I do it, the less struggles I have, because I've already figured out, or hopefully I've figured out, what got me into that mess in the first place. You know, we're not even going to cross the boundaries. Well, we can, of if you're married and have kids. You're doing more for that relationship with your wife and your kids, or your husband and your kids, than you realize. A lot of times we're the rock. We're the thing that holds everything together. But yet we're the first ones not to give ourselves credit for it. I see that all the time with me. I very rarely will take credit for anything. I will give credit to somebody else. And why is that? Good question. Because if you're not taking any credit, then do you really matter? And the answer is yes. You know, leadership starts from the top down, okay? And whether you're running a household or running a business or trying to run somebody else's lives, which we can't, right? It all starts with how we come across. Now, if I told you to define what a leader is, each one of us would have a little bit different take on it. But to me, it's one that if the group that you're leading is doing well, and you're giving them credit for doing well, that defines a leader. If your team is doing well and you're telling everybody and their neighbor that it's all because of you, that's poor leadership. Why? Because you're not giving credit where credit is due, right? Even though you can take credit as a group, right? Because you're working together. This is a group participation, right? If you do really well, but they suck, what's going to happen? It's not going to happen, right? So you need to find out where everybody's strengths and weaknesses are and have everybody pull together and work on where their strength is, or match them up with somebody that is strong in their weakness to allow them to learn and grow while they're doing it from somebody that knows how to do it. And on the flip side, that person is probably learning something from the person that had the weakness, right? So everybody grows together. Everybody matters. Not going to be a long video this morning. I had this gnawing thing about how somebody had mentioned that they didn't matter. And I just kind of shook my head and said, yeah, you do. You matter more than you think you matter. You may not feel like you matter much to yourself, but you're very important to a lot of people around. And all you on this channel are very important to me. You matter. You come every day, you listen to some goofy old guy talk about crapola. And it's giving me support, right? Of having a cup of coffee with my friends. And that's how I deem you guys are my friends. Do I have regular friends on the outside world? I hope so, yes. But I value you guys too. Very much so. So on that note, just think about that today. If you feel like you're invisible, that things are just passing you by and you're not, or you've taken a step back from life and you're just coasting, sometimes you need to get back into life. On that note, you guys have a great day.